Welcome to the Real Estate Show on KMED. November the 4th is our date. Pete Belcaster and Joe Brett, the real estate guys, with you here today. We're both real estate brokers with John L. Scott in Southern Oregon, and we get together with you once a week here on KMED to talk about all sorts of real estate-related issues and topics through a whole bunch of shows and a whole lot of years. And we're still hanging around with you as the first part of November comes rolling along. And, of course, Joe is here as well. You having holiday season is underway, Halloween now, so heck, it's a good time of the year. It's a good time to be around, right?
Sure. Get your raincoat and your camera gear covers out for football games this rainy weekend. But we got to take that as it comes. It's been a beautiful October, and
well, I wanted to tell folks, when you look at those property tax statements that came out this last week, I want you to know that according to the assessor, Dave Aerosmith, who'll be our guest here at the end of the month, by the way, 95% of all residential properties increased in value. Less than 1% experienced no gain in value, and 4.5% of residential properties decreased in value. Commercial property, Joe, went up 14% in growth. Multifamily experienced 11%. That is a market that is absolutely doing something, as we all know that it has been. Anyway, today here on the show, Tiffany Wilkerson, who's the Director of Marketing at John L. Scott's joined us today. And Tiffany, along with Jeff Myers, who's the IT Director at John L. Scott as well here in Southern Oregon. Nice to have you both here. I can't believe we finally got you here today. That's really good. Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
So before we kind of talk about, technology and stuff, tell folks what you actually do as Tiffany. Of course, Tiffany, is a Grizz from Ashland, grew up in Ashland, so it's nice to have you here with us. We were talking to people come Joe from all over, don't we? Yep. I don't think we've had anybody grew up in Ashland with us recently. So it's good to have Tiffany here. Tell us what you do, Tiffany, as marketing, kind of your role down there in this whole process.
Well, let's see here. I was brought on in terms of the marketing director because of my background. I have an extensive background in marketing, communications, relationships. I worked for a company overseas for a long time, as well as Dutch Bros Coffee, which is also another local company out of Grants Pass. With them, I was taught the importance of the client relationship, first impressions, and really engaging with our consumer and making, a lasting impression on them. So when I was brought to John L. Scott, I realized actually how similar real estate was to the Dutch Bros marketing tactics. And what I mean by that is there's some stats that say that somewhere around 70% of real estate agents get their leads from referrals, and that can come from family, friends, past transactions. And so when that relationship, my job is to basically, try to always remember when we're working with our clients to give them that life-enhancing experience. What about, the relationship with you and your client will they remember in order to want to, give them back, the referral. But then again, that also leads around 30 to 40% of, leads that come from digital online or print media. And so our job, especially Jeff and I, is to find, ways to delve into the digital world and, with search engines, online ads, anything that we possibly can for our agents. And
real estate is really huge in this. I mean, it's kind of one of the, I suppose, industry leaders in terms of developing its technology, right, for this, you think?
100%, right. Especially John L. Scott.
All right.
Yeah.
I was gonna just echo that thought right there, because I've seen it in the years we've been at John L. Scott, how at the front and how hard we work to stay at the front of technology and connecting with people and making our business better for our clients.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, Jeff Myers, you've been at John L. Scott, I think as long as Joe and I have, about 5-6 years. I think we kind of all got there together. We do different things, obviously, because you're involved in the tech part. I mean, and I see you all over. You run around and you are engaged in this thing. Does it surprise you how it's just immense, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, even just since I've been there, it's just changed immensely. With the
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
GPS home search apps and these 3D tours that are starting to come out. Like, it's just constantly evolving. Real estate websites are so different than like Amazon or Best Buy or anything like that just sell items, because these houses are constantly being listed, being sold. and people are expecting that to be reflected on a website within minutes. And so it's a dynamic business, definitely.
Now, what is it like? NAR stats, 99 or 98% of people, consumers, start the home buying process online, right? And that's grown even since obviously, that's damn near everybody is what it is. So, I mean, when you talk to people, you talk to agents, you talk to consumers, I'm sure too, what are the kinds of things, the areas that they should look at? I mean, where do you go searching right now? What's the best way to do that? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's definitely moving towards mobile. Like everyone has their phone, and it makes sense. Like if you're out looking at houses, you have your phone with you, and it's kind of just a match made in heaven. Last year, 2 out of 3 people under the age of 50 used their mobile device in their home search. So that's definitely growing.
So mobile devices, even, which is go ahead.
It's such a powerful tool. It's connected to instantaneous information. You just click on the house and it shows you the size, square footage, the price. It takes you right to the information that you're looking for.
Well, one of the things that I found is that people really I was talking about Zillow for a second. Can I do that for a second? Because I get more complaints from individuals who are using that type of a website, okay, that has everything. You can do your mortgage adjustment, right? You can do, and you have your Zillow's estimates, which
they'll tell you what your property's worth.
Okay, tell me what you guys think. How accurate are those things? Should I be trusting those things, or what should I do when I want to search? And where should I go if I live here in Southern Oregon to look for stuff locally here that I can be pretty accurate and is pretty up to date? What did I do?
Personally, I think people are attracted to Zillow, Realtor.com, websites like that because of the convenience. It's being able to get on there and just have everything almost at the, tips of your fingers. However, something that you pointed on a second ago was the accuracy of it.
Right, the accuracy.
It can be very inaccurate, unfortunately. The benefit of using the John L. Scott search engine here is the local aspect of it. On top of, we providing everything that, Zillow does along with more. We also are providing instant text notifications, which is huge this year. We're the only company in the nation, real estate-wise, that offers instant text notifications.
Now, what does that mean? Instant text notifications. Joe, it's like on demand. We're in the on demand world. Instant is the same thing. Tell me what that actually, what does that mean, and why would I want something like that, or what is it going to give me?
So especially with the market, how it has been, everything's moving extremely fast.
Right.
Yes.
And as a result of this,
Very
you're saying, or both of you saying, because we're in this high demand market, okay, low inventory. How many times do we hear people coming in here, our guests, multiple offers? We've heard 12. 12 is the highest I've ever heard. 12 offers.
Wow.
So does the local search engines like the John L. Scott engines, is that going to give me a little advantage if I'm in a competitive situation where I can get it faster than if I'm looking somewhere else?
Yeah, 100%. You're able to go onto our John L. Scott website and sign yourself up for a property tracker account. And what that means is being able to get on there, you're able to set your own search criteria in terms of the area, the price, the square footage, bedroom, bath, garage, no garage, acreage. And what you're able to do at that point is then set yourself up to receive instant or email notifications, regardless, if you want it instantaneously or daily, monthly, whatever, appeals to you and your lifestyle. But what it does is the website will send directly to your mobile device a text message where you can click on the link, and then it provides you all the information in regards to that new house. And it is syndicating from our MLS system. So when the agents are basically putting their new listings live on the MLS, it immediately sends a text if it is within your search criteria.
And if it takes sometimes, I believe, up to 48 hours or something like that for the other websites to populate all of those other things. So if you're just watching for something on another website, it may take 2 days to get there because it has. And so, John L. Scott, you're instant now. I'm 2 days ahead of the competition.
And by the way, 2 days later, that property's pending.
In those competitive areas and price ranges, it makes all the difference.
Keep moving. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes, and Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel that because we are a local search engine, John L. Scott, we are working with the local MLS system, which is the SOMLS, and that's all we're based on. So it's much faster and much more accurate in terms of where Zillow, Realtor.com, and all that are working with how many MLS systems?
All of them.
All of them.
Right.
All of them, yeah. And so sometimes, you can get inaccurate information, or it's a little bit slower to get updated.
And one neat thing about apps, we even have one for our local company that does high school sports athletics. Apps take you to the core of the information you want, as opposed to you can get on the internet on your phone and get online. But when you lock onto an app, it's already set up with a streamlined process to make your business quick, easy, and clean to get to. And I've had great experience with my clients. Most of the time, I'm showing them the John L. Scott app. We're looking at, did you know there's a couple more properties right around us right here? And they look at the interactive map. And it really is one after the other. They just thank me, download it, and get to work with it. Because it's the power in the hands of the consumer, the buyer, these days is unrivaled in what it's always been, and they are hungry for that edge that will get them to the property they want.
You talked about two different things there. You talked about an app, which is coming into my phone, which is correct. We talked about that, how you can get to those. But you were talking about Property Tracker, which is a kind of separate system there. And I know, Jeff, you work with that a lot. So how can a consumer, if I'm out there, I'm one of Joe's clients or one of my clients or whatever, and I want to get that information, how do I go about to get onto Property Tracker? Because a consumer can do it themselves, right?
Correct. Yeah. So if you were to just go to johnlscott.com or our either of our local office websites, medfordoffice.johnlscott.com or ashlandoffice.johnlscott.com, in the upper right-hand corner, it'll say Property Tracker sign up, and then that allows you to sign up for an account. And so that allows you to save those searches, save those favorite properties. And what's really cool is if you have a Property Tracker account, you can actually log into the app with it and see all of your saved properties and everything like that. So you can combine the two, but you can also use the app, without an account.
And you can revise your criteria as you go along and find out, that's not really that's kind of limiting my search, or it's not really going to be as important as I thought it was. That ability, that flexibility in the hands of the buyer. Instead of waiting for your agent to revise the criteria on a search engine, the type of situation like that, you got it right there in your hands.
Well, more and more consumers are doing it themselves. They want to do that, obviously. And I'm always amazed at some buyers are come along, and then they are sophisticated. I mean, they know. Well, aren't you surprised by that?
Millennials?
They make us look. Yeah, you're right. They really do. Younger people, they're pretty good at that.
They will. I think that honestly, that's one of the biggest reasons why people use online search engines today, especially millennials, is because they do. They'll get online, and they know by the time they contact their agent, they know what house they want, what square footage they want, they know what neighborhood, they know what color of a carpet, and they know exactly what price they're going to pay for it.
Yeah, and that lets us get to work on what we need to do to make that transaction come together for
pretty
them.
much.
Exactly.
Just make sure you have your pre-approval letter and you're ready to go, because you're not going to go too far if you don't have that. Well, we've seen this market. It's just, to me, we're in the fall months now, and I know it's going to change a little bit, but it always gives people opportunities to really begin some searches now and begin that process, I suppose, now into for the foreseeable future, for the months ahead, right?
I think there's some stats that say most people will do anywhere from a 10 to 12 week search prior to ever contacting their agent. I think that gives them the opportunity to kind of see what's out there. But yeah, there's a very large window, and starting now would be great. That way you know really what you want to do when the time comes to actually start the process.
And we've seen a couple of really good winners for new inventory that have kind of defied the normal statistics of a slow time during the holidays. We've got sellers that are continuing to bring properties on the market, and just from what I see on a day-to-day basis, it looks like we're going to continue to see some new offerings even during the quieter months that we go through December, January, February.
Hey, we're talking, by the way, with Tiffany Wilkerson and Jeff Myers from John L. Scott today on our real estate show about technology and the things how it can help consumers become better, better prepared for the search process. I want Jeff to tell you about how to get an app for somebody, because I don't have an app. I got an iPhone, but I don't have an app or something. I can't tell you how many times with my John L. Scott app, and they're branded to, or your name,
correct,
by the way. So I just now take it with clients. I just do it myself for them. I've come to that conclusion. And the funny thing about that, once they have it and you show them how to use it, I'm telling you, people think that is the best darn thing since sliced bread, is to have that app, which is in my phone, which allows me to why is it so big with it?
I mean, my favorite part about it is just the GPS functionality. So you open up the app, and then the map centers around where you are at that moment, shows you all the listings around you, and then you can zoom out from there. You can move the map around, but just not having to tell the map where you are and where you want to search, and just having it open to that.
And the
huge.
best part is when you're driving around looking, because we always tell clients, you want to drive around, drive-bys, take a look at something before we go look at it or something. With that app, you can just pull up in front of the house, look at the app, and it tells you everything about it that you want. It's remarkable.
Inevitably, on the way to a showing, we'll drive by a listed property just up the street or around the corner. And the first question I get when we get out of the car, even before we get in the door, is, "Hey, did you know about that? What's with that house around the corner?"
Yeah.
Here it is. And that's such a great tool. It's a great tool for your toolbox, whether you're an agent or a consumer.
And how can I download that thing? It's http/those things, right?
Yes.
JLSAPP.com.
Correct.
/Pete Belcastro or Joe Brett would probably be good to do that thing.
Just bring your phone to Pete and he'll do it for you. That's what he said. It's
Take it down to KMED.
Nice offer.
I'll put the app on there for you.
Yeah, just have a little light up here.
And I guarantee you'll love it.
You get to
it's
meet
really,
the rogue gardener, maybe, if he hasn't left.
It's the coolest thing in real estate that I've ever seen is that app. Anyway, we're coming right back. We're talking technology today in a John L. Scott Market Watch show. We're coming right back to KMED right after this. The Real Estate Show rolls on KMED. November the 4th is our date. Pete and Joe, the real estate guys, with you here today. No show next week. It's the KMED radio auction. So we're going to take the 11th, which is Veterans Day, by the way, next Saturday off. So we're back in 2 weeks with a show from the Rogue Valley Association of Realtors. And the end of the month, mortgage interest rates. We'll see what they're doing with Guy Giles and that kind of thing. So lots going on, isn't there, here in November? Thanksgiving coming up. I like this time of the year.
What are we going to do next Saturday?
I don't know. Strange. I don't know. It's odd. Anyway, welcome to the show today. We're with Tiffany Wilkerson, who's the marketing director of John L. Scott, and Jeff Myers, who's the IT director. We're talking about, just what's out there searching. How can we be better consumers in a tight market with low inventory and high demand? You got to be first. You got to be out there. You got to be aggressive, or you're not going to get the place that you want. And the worst thing that happens is, you search and you search and you search. You find the place, and then you don't get it. For whatever reason. So we want to help you make sure you do that today. So Tiffany and Jeff, we talked about the apps. The JLS app, which is a fabulous tool. We talked about Property Tracker, where you can go on to the John L. Scott site and sign up yourself and pick out your areas, criteria, where you want to be notified by, Tiffany said, instant text messaging or email if you want that thing. What else is in the future? I hear all sorts of things when we get together, and Jeff teaches classes, and we see all sorts of things going on. But you guys have really just hit the tip of the iceberg with what you're seeing the future, or what is still out there or coming our way as consumers, right? In real estate.
Yeah. So, the thing that makes Jeff and I a pretty good team is, like I was mentioning in the very beginning of this segment, is, I'm really good with communications and watching people and their behaviors. And Jeff is extremely good at the technology and the back end of everything.
Yeah.
So
it's a lethal combination here. I was going to say something coming up here. Okay,
it's very,
go ahead.
it can be, absolutely. Like I said earlier, I sometimes break the ice and he cleans it up. So something we were talking about earlier is just, how website searches are just going to be becoming easier and easier for the consumer. Right now, we're giving them the ability and the tools and the resources to do their own research, and sooner or later, we're going to be putting their research in front of them without them even realizing it. We're able to watch people, what they do online, their behaviors. We kind of, cookies, leaving a little cookie trail. And at some point, we're going to be able to honestly put listings in front of them without them even realizing that they're looking for listings, by clicking on that and then giving them an entire experience that's seems just unworldly. I mean, Matterport cameras, video, being able to honestly put yourself inside of these homes without even having to actually physically be there. The overall experience is just becoming easier and easier.
I've seen drones now. We see
FaceTime tours.
I see
guests that can't be on site.
3D. That's the Matterport camera. 3D pictures. You can come into houses, climbing up stairs and stuff like that. My question is it overkill? Is it too much? I mean, do people are they looking at these things, the attachments, or is just this kind of a fad that because we can do it, we can do it?
I think people, especially like the Matterport, like we talked about, it's very popular. Anytime there's a listing with that 3D Matterport, video, it's huge. So there's two ways that it helps. One, when a listing has a Matterport video done, you can kind of zoom out and view a 3D model of the house. They call it a doll house. You can rotate it and see the entirety of the house instead of just a few pictures or even a video. Like that 3D element is big. And then the other part of it is if you've ever used Google Street View, you can drop yourself in the house. It's just like Street View. You can look every direction and then advance through the house, walk into different rooms, all there on your computer, and it's a completely new experience.
What a time saver, because you see a few pictures on the internet, but the reality is until we set foot in a property with our clients, we don't really know if the space, the floor plan, the layout of the bedrooms is really what we want. What a great advantage.
Yeah.
And a time saver. Time saver for sellers and people that have to set up showings and have people come by. If you can really get a look, it's like, that's not going to work for me. Saves everybody the time and trouble.
Yeah, because sometimes you notice those little nuances that don't really come through in photos.
Yeah.
So it's more of a complete experience.
Yeah.
So are they better than photos, you're saying? That the 3D experience is better than just a photograph?
Oh, yeah.
Because lots of people complain, but the photographs didn't really show the house when I actually got there.
They can be flattering.
But the 3D pictures, the Matterport things, you guys think are better.
Oh yeah, I think it's more of a complete picture instead of just like a flattering angle or some nice editing on a photo.
I'm already bored with that. Here's what I want, Jeff. I want to put on virtual reality glasses, walk out, pick up my newspaper, meet the neighbors, immerse myself in the whole
I mean that's the next step.
Have my dog.
That's coming.
Yeah.
Is that coming?
That's right around.
gosh,
I mean, the
seriously?
VR exists, the Matterport exists. It's going to be very soon. We're going to be tying those
to
together.
where it will be almost like standing in that house.
Exactly.
For real.
I was just up at the John L. Scott convention in Washington,
Yeah.
and there actually was a booth there. I put on 3D Matterport goggles, and
Really?
I was able to walk through this home, all with just these things that were placed on my
On
my
your
face.
head.
Yes.
And you walked through it. Did you like that?
I did. Yeah, of course. It was neat.
Because it was neat.
It was very
Would it
neat.
help you sell a house? Do you think it would help sell a house? It's going to help a buyer buy a house?
I think so. I mean, I think that the more information that you can provide, the better. Especially for people relocating, that don't live here and that can't physically come and see the house. Obviously, you should always come see the house for
What
yourself.
an advantage to them in a competitive market too, to really get a peek and get a feel if they want to get in the mix.
Well, you're right. If you're remember, 40% of the sales in Jackson County are from people outside moving here. So you're right. If they're somewhere in California, somewhere, wherever, and they're looking at, as you're saying, this types of things, just saying that will help them in their search to narrow it down so they're not wasting their time either, or your time as well. Hey, tell me about the role social media is playing now in searching for properties. Is that something that is going to be more of, or tell me where that is at this point?
Social media is, personally, I feel like it's used to add a personal touch to just the business in general. I feel that it's a great platform for the younger generation, and the older generation. They're getting more inclined to using it to get their message across on, all different aspects of real estate, not just the listings. It really is a way to engage with your agent. It's a way to engage with, the listing. It's a way to engage with, all different kinds of.
Does it work in terms of, I don't know how, I don't use a lot of social media, but I know you do, so tell me, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, it has huge potential, new opportunities with it. Like one example is someone lists their house, that house goes live on the agent's website, then the agent sends that link back to the seller, which the seller can share on their own Facebook page because, maybe they're friends with neighbors or might have interested friends or family, and it allows another level of marketing almost.
What about Facebook business pages? Is there a lot of real estate Facebook business pages out there? Do you encourage those kinds of things for people?
There is a lot of real estate business pages. I think that there's obviously the difference between personal business pages and the real estate business page. I think both are very beneficial.
Yeah.
I think that your personal business page, that was really where your sphere is. A huge part of real estate is engaging constantly, showing them, what you have so that they can share it, like Jeff was just saying, and getting it out front. Most agents, when they first are starting their real estate, their business page doesn't have a lot of followers, where, by posting things on your personal business page, it not only allows your friends, your family to really keep you on the forefront of your mind of what you do, but you're able to show them what you've got, what your colleagues have, and gives them an opportunity to engage and also share as well. And
people want to know that information about us, don't they? They want to know information of where you're running. One of the interesting things is go Google yourself. Have you done that lately?
No.
We always do that.
Don't even want to know.
Go Google yourself, because I guarantee you, buyers and sellers aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, they're Googling you to see where you are, which
More
is
often
great.
than not.
I think another
I'll
great,
tell you.
another great privilege to the social media stuff is open houses, events.
Yeah, that's great.
It's
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
big. You're able to accumulate
Yeah.
a ton of traffic through there.
Those are big things. It's getting in front of people, and how you get them there is the key.
I just saw our good friend Alice Lima last weekend in an open house. 23 people in like the first 15 minutes, and she had it on there while the open house was still open, just to let everybody else know, if you were thinking about this house, you best
That's smart.
get there now. But
ton of people. Well, there's a
instantaneous.
It's a backlog of buyers. I mean, they're still out there, and they're still looking. We've got a break coming up here. We're with Tiffany Wilkerson and Jeff Myers from John L. Scott IT and Marketing Departments. We're coming right back. More on the Real Estate Show, and we continue right after this. Real Estate Show continues here on KMED. November the 4th is our date. Pete and Joe, the real estate guys, with you here today on KMED. Hey, that latest Jackson County market snapshot, from John L. Scott that we talk about every month is out for October. It's really interesting how it changes, Joe, over the time. Still, we talk about competitive market area, competitive pricing. If you're in that $150,000 to $250,000 range in Jackson County as overall, you have still less than a month's supply of inventory. $250,000 to $350,000, you got a 2-month supply. $350,000 to $500,000 is the 3-month supply, and then it really goes up. Listen to this one: $500,000 to $750,000 listings now, 8-month supply. $750,000 to $1 million, 19-month supply. And $1 million houses now, a 12-month supply. That has really changed.
Yeah,
really a lot. But it reflects that there was, that type of inventory. But it reflects, doesn't it, what's selling? And we know what's selling. That certainly has not changed.
Where still the bulk of the demand is.
Oh, absolutely. We're with Tiffany Wilkerson, who's the marketing director at John L. Scott, and Jeff Myers, who's the IT director. We've been talking about technology and stuff. The surprising, that kind of stat makes sense to me. We're talking about all this stuff all this technology that's out there. I love stats like that John L. Scott provides us. It's great information all the time. So you guys, good for you, because you provide that with us anyway. Anyway, tell me what John L. Scott has a blog that people can access. Anybody, tell me about that, because it's really neat that way you've designed this to for real estate.
Yeah,
local real estate again. Local. I keep emphasizing local stuff.
100%. So earlier we were talking about social media, which obviously went into the blog. We just launched this, maybe a month or two ago. The link is jlsoregon.blog. And what we've done is invited the agents, staff, anyone associated with John L. Scott to provide us with the ability to write articles, make videos, take pictures, anything, that has related to real estate, their personal lives, hobbies. I think hobbies and real estate really go hand in hand. It offers a really unique balance between work and life. Especially in real estate, a lot of people, take your guys' radio show, for instance, you're able to meet all these new people and make new friends, colleagues, and that really builds your sphere. I have agents in the office that are very intrigued by diving, water. I have slacklining. The most unique things. Unique things, yes. And it's very, very interesting. And so we really encourage them to write articles about it, take photos, because it offers, the consumer, our clients, a really unique insight to what they are and who they they are as people. So what they do is they'll write articles and then they provide it to me and I post them on the blog. From there, we share it on our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and then they're able to also, I link it back to their personal website. So, if you were to ever write an article, I would have, Pedro Castro, a link back to, potentially your radio show or your personal John L. Scott page, whatever you prefer.
And how do I find that? How does someone find that?
JLSoregon.blog.
JLSoregon.blog.
It's called Local Words.
Yeah, cool. That's neat. Yeah,
it's one of the best things we have to offer our clients is our knowledge of the quality of life here by our own experiences and by the reasons we live here.
Yeah,
and that's oftentimes a great connection you can make. They're looking for the same types of things.
Yeah. There's some really, really great resources on there. People that are local to Ashland are writing about how to obtain, cheap tickets to Shakespeare, best restaurants, favorite things on the menu.
One thing that could really be good
inside information.
Another thing good on that blog is people who write or agents who deal with repair people and contractors and all sorts of different vendors, because we know real estate is so big and encompasses so much, and these are people who work with vendors and things, and so all that kind of stuff is good information. Jeff, before we're out of here, you scare me when you talk about like digital agents and digital's this and we're going to be able to do all sorts of things in the future regarding real estate.
Our cars are going to drive themselves. What are you going to do with Pete and I at that point?
Okay. You still need, bottom line, you still need an agent, but the tools that you're saying, the texting. So tell us again about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's changed now. All of the information is out there for people to get, and that's great. People love getting information, but certain things are still they need help with, like the process and the paperwork is still very foreign. You can't just go to Zillow and see all of that. So it's just changed. But like you were saying, as far as like the months of inventory, the timeliness is very important for all of this information. And in those lower price range where we're looking at like 1 month or less of inventory, just how quick you're getting that information could make the difference between getting a house and not getting a house. So the newest feature I'm definitely most excited about is just those text message notifications, because how many times do you miss an email in the day versus a text,
And the text, you're right. I think forget the percentage of texts that are open compared to email is shocking, isn't it? People actually look at your text messaging more so then. So the future, though, you think is going to continue with this. It's going to be confusing to people, but again, I think they should come into the John L. Scott sites because you've got everything there. Everything is there that really a person needs to find the local information that is so important, faster than any place else that's out there. Is that kind of the bottom line today that we're learning, right?
Yeah, it's moving at light speed, and we have text message alerts available already on our website. So that's a great starting point, and it's going to be moving faster and faster, I think, as we go on.
And all that stuff is good. I'm not saying that all these searching, the way you're doing it is fine, but in the end, you have not been able to, Tiffany or Jeff, have not been able to, Joe, come up with a way to do a repair addendum without having an agent involved and people involved.
They're working on it.
Your jobs, if I'm going to the result of this day is that your jobs are to get people to search and to look and to find and those kinds of things. Yeah. But in the end, for anything to be successful, to do the repair addendum, you still have to have an agent to go out there and look at it, help you, and do it with you. When it gets tough, you got to have an agent there. Okay. Colin Mullane told me that this last week. I told you that. I was complaining. I was just complaining, and he says that's why they need us.
Yep.
And I said, you're absolutely right.
We know the home inspectors, the contractors, the repair people, how to find out about zoning issues, what the septic and well issues might be. Those are the areas now. Consumers are empowered to find the property, but you still need us to really professionally get it done.
But to get there,
and you get it right and get it done.
To get there, what you're saying, you got to go through what they're doing, and then you got to have the tools there, all that there to do that. So it's really fascinating what's going on.
You're not really trying to replace the human beings.
No.
Are you? There's no profit to be gained by eliminating human agents.
We're trying to make the search easier, but that paperwork, I don't think is easy.
So how are we going to find, again, we're almost out of time here, how do we find johnlscott.com?
The office website.
Okay, the office website.
JLSmedford.com.
JLSmedford.com. And then we'll find Property Tracker and all those kind of things there to do it.
Upper right-hand corner.
It's a fascinating look at the world of real estate technology. And it's changing so rapidly. I don't know how you keep up with it, but you really are keeping up with it, which is really remarkable.
We're trying.
But the things that out there still scare you, don't they, out there? I don't know. Anyway, Tiffany, thank you for coming today.
Thanks for having
Jeff
us.
Myers, nice to visit with you.
Thanks for the
That'll
invite.
do it for the Real Estate Show here on November the 4th. You have a great week, everybody. God bless you all. And we'll talk to you next Saturday right back here on KMED for the next edition of the Real Estate Show coming in 2 weeks. Don't forget, next week's the auction.
You've been listening to the Real Estate Show on KMED Radio, presented by the Rogue Valley Association of Realtors, along with John L. Scott Real Estate of Southern Oregon and Bank 34 Mortgage. For guest contact information, download our free app, or to watch a past show, visit us online at realestateshoworegon.com. This show is produced by Table Rock Productions. Join us again next weekend for Southern Oregon's one and only Real Estate Show on KMED. And thank you for making the Real Estate Show part of your weekend.